Please welcome entrepreneur, musician, and code engineer, Caitlin Hover.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Caitlin Hova, and I have lived many lives. These days, I'm a software executive at JP Morgan, but my background is actually in music and neuroscience. And I know that that sounds really random, but I'm a big believer that not all who wander are lost. I am just a very curious person, excited about multifaceted problems. It all started back when I was in college, where my music theory professor on our last day decided to drop a little fun tidbit that low-key changed the trajectory of my life. He said, "Did you know that some people can physically see sounds?" And I was shocked. Did other people not do this? After all, how does music theory work if you can't see the sounds that you're analyzing? I didn't get it. In the years that followed, a lot of my goofiness started to make a lot more sense as I started analyzing how I process the world around me. It turns out there's a name for this. It's called synesthesia. The definition of this is where stimulation in one sense causes an automatic involuntary experience in another. The cool thing about this is that two people can experience the same type of synesthesia, but experience it in completely different ways, and they're both valid. You can definitely experience this synthetically for a temporary amount of time, but it can also be genetic, like in my case. The most common type of synesthesia is called grapheme to color. That's where you experience numbers and letters with colors, and it turns out I have that. For me, this is what the alphabet looks like. A hint that you might have this type of synesthesia and not realize it is if you were adamant about the type of binder and its color that you had in grade school. So now I understand why I would fight you that history had to be in a green binder and math had to be in a red binder, because H is green, M is kind of red. Obviously. The farther you go into the research of synesthesia, the more you realize how common it is. Some research suggests that it's as common as 1 in 23 people, so roughly 4% of the world's population. In perspective, think about how many people you know who have red hair. That's roughly 1 to 2% of the population. So you definitely know somebody with synesthesia. And further, it could even be you. The funny thing about all of this is that sometimes synesthesia can rub. If you have one type, you're likely to have more than one type. And they can rub, causing cognitive quirks. So these quirks can explain things that you would otherwise have no other way to explain it. For example, have you ever met someone named Bob and you thought, "You don't really look like a Bob"? What's the deal with that? I realize I experience colors with people, and I experience colors with numbers and letters. So if you experience, for example, a lot of greens with somebody, but their name is like Roger, which is a really red word for me, I'm going to call you like Greg. I'm never going to remember your name. But Greg is a very green word for me, so it all makes sense. It's a spectrum, after all. So everyone's kind of on it. A very light version of synesthesia can be experienced through the Kiki-Boba effect. This is where researchers presented these two pictures and asked subjects, "Hey, which one would you name Kiki, and which one would you name Boba?" Exactly. Why do you think that? So if we're all on the spectrum for synesthesia, what if this cross-sensory experience is just a part of the average human experience? And further, what if the way that you experience the world can be even more beautiful than the world itself? To demonstrate what synesthesia looks like in real time, my partner and I actually 3D printed a violin called the Hovalin, and we shoved a bunch of LEDs in it and programmed them to play the colors that I see in real time with the notes. Okay, so for example, C is kind of red. D's pretty blue. E's yellow. F is like a weird light green. G's super green. A is like orangish red, and then B is purple. And then, yeah, C is red again. This is what it looks like in a song. Thank you.